Please rise for the singing of the national anthem and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. And the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, before we begin, and council colleagues, before we begin the formality of the meeting, I'd like to make a brief statement. This is my first meeting in 3 months. I need to tell you that even though I had the opportunity to view the council meetings on television, there's nothing like being in the chambers to get the real sense and the real feel for what the people of this city are requiring of us. I want to thank my staff for carrying on in my absence. They are excellent. I had no calls complaining about the service, thank God, coming out of our office. I want to thank my council colleagues for taking my place when I could not be present, and for holding this august body together to do what is required of us as elected officials. We are the servants of this community, and I want to say thank you to all of them for the calls, the cards, etc., that I received during my time of bereavement. I have already sent the mayor a note of thanks. I am delighted, and I personally want to welcome the new business administrator, Eric Pennington, who has been a stalwart and wonderful person in this community. I said to the mayor, thank you for you, Mr. B.A., and I look forward to working with you, as you know as well. To all of the hundreds, and I do mean hundreds, I have not been able to keep count. The hundreds of Newarkers who sent me cards, who sent me flowers, who sent me candy, which I did not need because I've lost a couple pounds, who sent me books to read, but most of all, who sent me their prayers. According to some of the medical persons who, and I don't mean just doctors, but therapists, said to me, "You're a walking miracle. You should not be up this quickly, moving around, and even thinking about going back to work for at least another month." But I know something that others know. God is good, and he will take care of you in spite of. And so I'm glad to be back. Mr. Clerk and Kathleen, it's good to see the whole staff. And so, Mr. Clerk, to the agenda.
Madam President, in accordance with the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice has been provided to the Star-Ledger, the Jersey Journal, and to the public at large establishing the date, time, and location of this meeting. May I have a roll call of those present, please?
Absent. Gonzalez.
Present.
James.
Present.
McCallum.
Here.
Guyver.
Present.
Osborne.
Present.
Quintana.
Here.
Ramos.
Here.
President Trump.
Here.
On the agenda, Council of the Whole to accept the reports of the boards and commissions. Roll call.
Roll call.
Amador. Absent. Gonzalez.
Yes.
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 Guyver.
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes.
Quintana.
Yes.
Ramos.
Yes.
President Trump.
Yes.
Ordinance is on first reading. 6FA is an ordinance amending Title IV Alcohol Beverages of the Revised General Orders of the City of Newark. This would amend portions of the Chapter 2 and 3 by the hours of sale and to amend certain restrictions for exceptions to the 1,000-foot rule. Councilman Ramos wishes to move, second by Councilman James and Amador. Well,
Roll call, please.
Councilman James. Roll call.
Amador absent. Gonzalez.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
McCallum.
Yes.
Guyver.
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes.
Quintana.
Yes.
Ramos.
Yes.
Yes.
6FB is an ordinance amending Title 18, Chapter 5, Security, Article 1, Housing Guards. This would add a new section, a subsection, petition to reduce or increase the hours of armed security guards for public or private buildings with over 100 units, and amend the require surveillance cameras in said buildings. Council members, we have given you this morning the amended version. This is what you will be voting on. The title should read, Ordinance amending Title 18, Chapter 5, Security, Article 1, Housing Guards, 18:5-1.1, Armed Security Guards required by adding a new subsection 18:5-1.1C, petition to reduce or increase the hours of armed security guards for public or private buildings with 50 to 100 or more units, and amend section 18:5-1.5 to require surveillance cameras in said buildings. This is the document that you will be voting on today. Councilman Ramos wishes to move, second by Councilman James.
Roll call, please.
Amador absent. Gonzalez.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
McCallum.
Yes.
Guyver.
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes.
Quintana.
Yes.
Ramos.
Yes.
Yes.
Madam President,
Yes, Council.
I just want to thank my colleagues for supporting this piece of legislation, which my office has been working on for a number of months. I know Councilwoman McGyver introduced a few amendments, which I had initial opportunity to review, and between now and the next meeting, I would encourage the full council to look into the complete ordinance, just to make sure everyone's comfortable. I know I have a few meetings scheduled with a number of tenant associations, a lot of whom have expressed support of this particular ordinance. So, you know, it is moving slowly, but it's an important piece, and I just want to make sure it incorporates feedback from everyone.
So noted. Councilwoman McIver.
First of all, I just want to thank my council colleague, Ramos, for taking the time to meet with me. I know his office has been working on this for months now, and me just being 2 months in coming with additions. I just want to thank you for your support. Thank you for your suggestions and advice. And I want to thank the council as a whole for supporting this amendment, as it is desperately a need in our community. And so I just want to thank everybody especially for the last minute support. Thank you.
Next item, Mr. Clerk.
Ordinance on public hearing, second reading, and final passage. 6 PSNFA is an ordinance of the Municipal Council of the City of Newark providing for a cap ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank for 2018. Is there anyone present that wishes to be heard on this ordinance?
No one appearing.
No one appearing. Motion to close the public hearing and adopt. Council of the whole.
Roll call.
Amador absent. Gonzalez.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
McCallum.
Yes.
McIver.
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes.
Quintana.
Yes.
Yes.
Crump.
Yes.
B is an ordinance amending Title II Administration, Chapter 2, Office of the Mayor and Agencies. This would establish the City of Newark Commission on Homelessness. Is there anyone present that wishes to be heard on this ordinance?
No. One's coming.
Good afternoon, members of council. In regards to this ordinance, Munir El-Bumani, citizen of Newark, I thought we had already had established a commission on homelessness. Is this an amendment or a new commission? Anybody have any answers?
We're going to request that the response, once you complete your statement, the Corporation Council will respond.
And also, this is for public hearing, so the question I want to ask, are there any local residents? Anybody have any names of local residents? Did you get input from the housing advocates and local residents to be a part of this commission?
When you finish your,
Going to answer all these questions? Okay.
you want your 5 minutes.
Okay.
So when you're
All right,
finished,
so-
sweetheart, I'm
so
sorry.
That's just all, the only questions I have right now. And also, in regards to establishing it, will there be any kind of development of proposed agenda, platform from this commission?
No,
That's just the 3 questions.
when you're finished, we'll be happy to.
Okay. I'm done with that.
Corp Counsel?
Good afternoon. I just wanted to, before I start, Kenyatta Stewart, City of Newark Law Department. So when it comes down to responding to things like this, if it's possible, Madam, if it's possible, can you let the public know that they can give their comments, and if anyone has a comment, they can all come together, give the comments, and then I respond to all of them, or as you see it fit, as opposed to responding to each one individually. I think it just takes away the time. To speak to this exact ordinance here, so this is just reenacting the homelessness commission that was already in place in the past. And as far as the actual membership, the membership would include folk from, of course, within the community, and does include folk who may have been homeless in the past as well. We thought that was important. I don't think that it's a good idea to speak to an issue unless you get people who were once in that circumstance in the past. There will be regularly attended meetings. There will be an agenda that will be posted. Of course, the council will have participation in as far as, when the meetings will be told and, the different, not the agenda, but the minutes and things of that nature. You all will be, privy to that stuff as well.
Excuse me.
Any other question?
I just have one
Councilman McCallum.
Director, who will be establishing the commission?
So essentially what happens is that this comes out of the mayor's office. The mayor will work with Dr. Wade in the health department. Of course, they will seek, input from you all as well in reference to the different people. Of course, the different commissioners will have to be brought before you all, and they will be approved before you all.
Okay, so it'll be different commissioners?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions?
Yeah, Madam
Mr.
President,
Clerk? I'm sorry, Councilman.
I just want to state that we used to have a municipal homeless commission. It got folded into the board of the federally qualified health center some years back, so this would be the first time since that commission was folded into the city health center commission that we have our municipal homeless commission.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Motion to close the
Roll call.
public hearing and adopt. Council of the whole?
Roll call?
Amador,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
James,
Yes. Yes.
McIver,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Quintana,
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes.
President Trump.
Yes. Next item, Mr. Clerk.
6 PSNFC is an ordinance to amend the supplement Title 19 of the revised general ordinance of the City of Newark by creating a new chapter which establishes access to free legal representation to Newark's low-income residents facing eviction in landlord-tenant court. Is there anyone present that wishes to be heard on this ordinance?
Madam President,
Councilman Gonzalez.
I saw an email yesterday, and the people that are going to be providing the services are asking us to not approve, not move forward with this ordinance because they see a lot of areas that need clarification. So in view of that, if they are the ones providing, this is the Felipe Chabanas, the people that are going to actually provide the service in court, are asking us to defer action on it. I believe that it will be prudent on our part to do that.
So I just, Council President, I'm sorry.
Councilwoman McIver.
I just want to second what Councilman Gonzalez said as well. We do have some areas that we need to discuss regarding the piece that we received. So I would like for it to be deferred if possible for further review.
Sure, I actually received the email as well. I think it's important to note that the folk from internal, as far as in the mayor's office, myself, Jason Grove, a number of other people who have been involved with this process, we've been involved with the folk from day one. I do recognize that they have some additional concerns, and we're willing to, accept the deferment so that we can go out and, continue the conversation and discussion with them. We don't have a problem with that. We understand.
Thank you very much. So with the council's approval.
I'll move to defer.
Second. Is there a second?
Councilman Osborne.
Is there a second? Second. Oh, thank you. Roll call, Mr. Clerk, to defer.
Amador,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
McIver,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes,
Yes.
Madam President.
Yes, Councilman Ramos.
Would the clerk's office be able to give me a copy of those concerns
We're
that were
deferring
highlighted?
the item.
The concerns that some of the groups have presented regarding the piece of legislation, I haven't had a chance to see it. I've had problems with my city email, so that's probably why I haven't seen it.
I didn't get
If there were, issues raised to specific council members, I think we should all have an opportunity to see those.
Madam President,
Yes?
the clerk's office has not received this email either, so I would ask that a council member that has, if you could forward it to us.
Let me see if I have it here. I will forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, Mr. Clerk.
D is an ordinance granting a 30-year tax abatement to the Newark Farmers Market Urban Renewal LLC for a project to replace old existing structures with a new distribution and processing facility for fruits and vegetables. Is there anyone present that wishes to be heard on this ordinance?
No one appearing.
No one appearing. Motion by
sir.
Councilman Amador, second by Councilman Gonzalez to close the public hearing and adopt.
Roll call, please.
Amador,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Yes.
absent, MacIver,
Yes.
Yes.
MacIver,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
McDonough,
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes.
President Trump.
Yes.
Resolutions. Resolution 7R1A is a ratifying authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration, Office of Management and Budget to a temporary emergency appropriation for the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act Adult Youth and Dislocated Workers Program.
7R1B.
7R1B is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration to provide traffic control equipment to the city. This is a bid contract. 1C is a bid authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration for a bid contract to maintain and repair collision bodywork light-duty vehicles.
1D.
1D is a ratifying authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration to use a state contract for Value Point Computers to provide for a Second Amendment to increase the total contract amount to purchase laptops, tablets, and accessories. 1E is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration to use a state contract and all its applicable vendors and dealers for plumbing and heating supplies and equipment. 1F is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration to use a state contract for vehicle purchases. This is to purchase 2 passenger vans. 1G is authorizing resolution for the Department of Administration to use a state contract and all applicable vendors for automotive parts and for heavy-duty vehicles. 1H is the authorizing and amending resolution to use the state contract for communications equipment and accessories. This is to increase the contract amount by $140,000 to provide radio communications equipment and accessories. Through 7R1H, Council of the Whole to adopt.
Roll call, please.
Amador,
Yes. Yeah, I'll make a statement at the end. Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
Yes.
Callum,
Yes.
Ivor,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
McDonough,
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes.
President Trump.
Yes. Next item.
Madam President, before we go.
Sorry, Councilman Amador.
Before we go any further, we're approving on 7R1D close to $1 million to be divided between 2 companies. One of them is EMC Corporation from Massachusetts, and the other one is Panasonic from Secaucus. Can we have an update on the Panasonic agreement with the city of Newark in terms of Newark residents being employed by that company?
I think you're absolutely right. I did notice, but I had decided not to bring it publicly to the attention. This is a reoccurring subject. You know, we go through this to our new BA. The plea from the city council is that in determining the persons who receive contracts from the city, please help us by trying to find some local Newarker. And I agree with the councilman there. I can drive down one street and see at least 2 garages that provide.
At the time that Panasonic came to the city
Yes.
of Newark, there were some commitments made to hire some Newark residents.
Yes.
I'd like to know the status of those commitments and how many residents from the city of Newark have been employed since they moved into the city.
Madam President, if I
Councilman Gonzalez?
Yeah, I thought that Panasonic's headquarters was in Newark and not in Secaucus.
And not,
No, it's
Still is in Secaucus?
No.
No, it's not. It's in,
Anyone else?
Newark. They used to be in Secaucus.
Councilman Quintana.
A portion in Secaucus.
So I think you get a sense of the will of this body.
Yes, Council President, Eric Pennington, Business Administrator. With respect to your point about having locals being hired when we hire professionals and others and vendors, it is the mandate of the administration to not only hire locals, but to make sure that professional services, other vendors, and contractors are given opportunities with people who have who reflect the makeup of the city. And we have a diverse city, and we want to make sure that the vendors that we hire, professional services, all have that same makeup. That information is going out to the vendors. It is in the RFPs and RFQs that we have now and the bid proposals, and we're committed to ensuring, through the will of the administration and the council, that we follow through with that in every area of procurement that we have.
Thank you.
I think we're talking about two different things. What I'm saying is, at the time that Panasonic came to the city of Newark, there were some concessions made by the city of Newark and some guarantees given by Panasonic to the city of Newark. And one of them was the hiring of a number of Newark residents from the time that they moved in. I'd like to know what the status of that commitment is, not necessarily related to this particular item, which is also a concern of mine. But my point is, at the time that they came to the city of Newark, they got some concessions from the city to come to the city of Newark in terms of tax credits. I would like to know what kind of, if there was a follow-up on the commitments that they made to the previous administration when they came to the city.
No, I'll follow up on that, Councilman, and I agree. Just Council President also, I thought, indicated that she wanted to make sure that the people that we hire as well as vendors and professionals also had a diversity that reflected the city. So I was answering that first part, but the second part as well. Well, I'm sure that we'll get a letter from the clerk's office to make sure that we follow up on that, and I will do so.
There was a contract at the time between Panasonic and the city of Newark.
No question.
I'd like to know if Panasonic has followed through on the contract that they signed with the city. That's all.
We'll follow up on that.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Clerk, next item.
7R2A is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Economic and Housing Development for private sale and redevelopment for the construction of a two-family owner-occupied affordable home.
This was deferred from the first meeting in August. So we okay. Is there are you sponsoring?
Council of the Whole?
Okay, no. We'll do council as a whole.
Council of the Whole to adopt.
Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
McCallum,
Yes.
McIver,
Yes.
Osborne,
yes.
Quintana,
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes.
President Trump.
Yes.
7R2B is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Economic and Housing Development for private sale and redevelopment to rehabilitate the property as affordable rental or for sale housing. Councilman James wishes to move, second by Councilman Osborne.
Roll call, please.
Amador,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
McCallum,
Yes.
McIver,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Quintana,
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes.
President Trump.
Yes.
2C is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Economic and Housing Development declaring an area in need of redevelopment. Councilman James wishes to move, second by Councilman Quintana.
Roll call, please.
Amador,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
McCallum,
Yes.
McIver,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Quintana,
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes.
President Trump.
Yes.
2D is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Economic and Housing Development for a grant agreement for the project will consist of construction of a four-story structure with 27 residential units and approximately 1,000 square foot cafe and 1,000 square foot art gallery and performance space, along with communal workshops located in the basement. Councilman James wishes to move, second by Councilman Quintana.
Roll call.
Yes.
Gonzalez,
No.
James,
Yes.
McCallum,
Yes.
Geiger,
Yes.
Osborne,
Yes.
Quintana.
Yes.
Ramos,
Abstain.
President Trump.
Yes.
Madam President.
Next item. Mr. Clerk? I'm sorry, Council?
At yesterday's pre-council meeting, Councilman McCollum mentioned that there were these PSE&G funds that were supposed to be invested in each ward for different development projects. So I would just ask through your chair and the clerk's office for us to have a conversation with the administration about potential uses of those funds. Yesterday was the first time I heard of that. So, you know, as a ward council person, you know, I find that interesting, so.
Madam President, if I may.
Can I respond to? When Barry Wilson was here, he went to the local finance board, and there were about 5 or 6 projects that were agreed upon, because the first 25 million that we voted on a few years ago, they had to be approved for the projects. So I don't know what the North Ward's project was.
Yeah, I don't know of any project in the North Ward that got PSE&G subsidies, so.
Okay, so they can look into that. I don't know what the other wards. I know the South Ward is the 505 project. Some of the funds went into that. I don't know about the East and Central.
Madam President, Madam
Yes, Councilman,
Yes, yesterday, the pre-meeting, I had some questions regarding whether this entity, the Newark Community Economic Development Corporation, has the power to be a developer in the city. I believe that when we created this organization did not have the power to be a developer. They had the power to help the developing of the city and to help in the process of the developers in getting permits and getting, let's say, financing. But I don't believe that they have the authority to be the ones collecting the rent, as indicated yesterday by someone from economic development. And I would love to have a clarification and the papers that created this organization to determine whether this entity is authorized to do development. Otherwise, this would be an ultra-virus act, an act that is not supported by law, and it would be null and void.
yes.
Yes, good morning. Evan Zanyan, with Director of Community Development, Office of Economic and Housing Development. With respect to NCEDC's...
Excuse me
NCEDC
for 1 minute, just 1 minute. Mr. Clerk, did this come up for discussion yesterday?
Yes.
Yes.
It did?
Yes,
Is he present?
And he expressed the views that he thought at the time were the views that the entity might be authorized. But I would like to see the papers that created the entity to see that the entity was authorized or not.
NCEDC?
Well, no, that was before. It was Newark Downtown Core Corporation, then it became something else.
From the original name.
Yeah, Brick City Development Corporation, that I was a member of the board.
Yes, you were.
Aníbal was a member of the board of the previous entity. So we have to make sure that that entity has the power to do what we are authorizing them to do.
Right, and respectfully, this body, by way of Resolution 7R2C, authorize this matter that we're voting on today. So it's a two-step process. First, you authorize them to be the redeveloper for this process, and next, we're now giving the funds for them to do so.
Where, let's say, the incorporating documents, given in those incorporating documents, do they have the power to do that? We can authorize whatever, but if they are not authorized in paper by the state of New Jersey, they cannot do it.
Respectfully, they're authorized as a private quasi-governmental entity.
I'm asking you to show it to me.
Oh, not a problem.
That's the only thing I'm asking. Show it to me, and I don't want your opinion. I want the paper that says that it is.
Councilman Gonzalez, my office will provide you two things. One, the corporate body documents with respect to NCEDC, and 2, will provide you the documents for which this body authorized them to be redeveloped.
I can look at that one up. Get me the one that says that they authorized to be a developer in the city.
Yeah, Madam President.
Thank you.
1 second. Madam President.
Councilman Ramos, followed by Councilman James.
My question, and I posed this yesterday, deals with getting information as to what happened initially, because I know this project had been designated previously to another developer. You know, my assumption is that there were some problems, which is why now you're asking this entity to come in and kind of take over the development. And yesterday in executive, you really didn't articulate that. So that, you know, I need to feel more comfortable understanding what had previously happened and why is it that we're asking, you know, NCEDC to take over the development. And you don't need to discuss this now because I'm sure this is going to come back, but that's just my, those are the points that I put on the record yesterday, and I just want to put them on the record again today.
Yeah, you should appreciate that, Councilman, and the documents will be provided to you.
Right.
We don't do the action.
Councilman James, please forgive me.
Evans, the state has to be involved in this at some point, right?
In what respects? It's a historic, I mean, for instance, the funding I personally went before the local finance board for the state to approve us to use the, PSE&G bonds to supplement the capital stack that's fund this project. And as this body is aware, no one wanted really to touch this project. It's a historic project that we wanted to preserve. And 2, we wanted the community to be a part of what that project should be. And in the absence of an entity wanting to spend the resources and time to do this thing that the community wanted, this body authorized NCEDC to do so. But I definitely understand the councilman's concerns, and with respect to the documents that he seeks, they will be provided to him.
Okay, and then in the executive session, we can go into more details about what happened initially.
President,
Right.
If I may,
Councilman
let me be
Gonzalez.
clear, I am not opposed to the project. I am just want to make sure that the entity has the authority to do it. If not, then we have to authorize the entity to be entitled to do it. That's my concern. It's not that I am opposing the project.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
7R2E is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Economic and Housing Development for the private sale and redevelopment to expand Marion P. Thomas Charter School at the request of the administration. Council of the Whole to defer action at this time.
Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
7R5A is a ratifying authorizing resolution for the Department of Health and Community Wellness to provide Ryan White HIV/AIDS-related health support services. This is Positive Healthcare, Inc. 5B is also a Ryan White. This is Atlantic Health Systems, Inc., Morristown Medical Center. And 5C, also a Ryan White grant, Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey Special Services Dental Clinic. Through 7R5C, Council of the Whole to adopt.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 7R6A is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Law for settlement of workers' compensation claim. 6B is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Law for the settlement of a workers' compensation claim. 6C is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Law for settlement of civil litigation. Through 7R6C, Council of the Whole to adopt.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Abstain. I was not here for the meeting, Mr. Clerk.
7R7A is a ratifying authorizing resolution for the Office of Mayor for professional services contract to serve as per diem public defenders. Council of the Whole to adopt.
Roll call, please.
Amador,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
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 Osborne,
Yes.
Donna,
Yes.
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 7R8A is a authorizing resolution for the Office of Municipal Council City Clerk through a constable appointment.
Sponsor, of course.
Do I have a second?
Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks. Thank you.
Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, a fine young man.
8B is also a constable appointment.
I'd like to sponsor. I'd like to sponsor.
Sponsor?
Yes. No. Yes.
Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
8C is also a constable appointment. 8D are various expressions of profound sorrow and regret. 8E are various recognizing and commending resolutions. Through 7R8E, Council of the Whole to adopt.
Roll call, please, Mr. Clerk.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
7R11A is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Recreation, Cultural Affairs, and Senior Services for a hold harmless and indemnification agreement for the facilities used for the Miss Glitz Glamour and Brain STEM project. Council of the Whole to adopt.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Mr. Clerk, before we go to the next item, did the council send some kind of letter of congratulation to the new superintendent? I was out.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
We did do it good.
Yes.
He's doing a great job, in my opinion.
To the added,
Next item.
to the added starter pages. 7R2F is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Economic and Housing Development for a need for housing project. 7R2G is a authorizing resolution for the Department of Economic and Housing Development for private sale and redevelopment to construct 10 two-family residential homes.
Sponsoring.
Any comments?
I'm sponsoring it.
You're sponsoring?
First one.
John, Councilman James is sponsoring 2F. Do I have a second? Councilman Osborne. Councilman McCallum is sponsoring 2G.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
8F is a,
Madam President, if I may,
Yes, Councilman
make my-
Gonzalez.
my regular comment on
I know.
this
I've been waiting for it.
7R2 is the assessed amount
waiting.
is, again, $443,000. And yesterday, we had a short discussion that I believe the assessor has to either adjust these assessments for the condition, the current condition of the property, or don't put the assessment here in the ordinance because it makes us look bad. I believe the optics of this is not good, that we're selling a property for $125,000 when the assessed value is $443,000. I believe that we have to come up with a current market value that is not the assessed value based on the conditions of the property at the time of the sale, so that the people that are seeing these agendas have a better understanding of what is actually happening.
Thank you. Councilman McCallum also wishes to respond.
Okay, in response to Councilmember Gonzalez, I checked these properties out, and many of them are vacant lots, and they're in a blighted area, that we're trying to bring the area back. You know, we constantly clean, rodent control constantly has to go there. Sanitation has to constantly go there. So we're trying to take the responsibility off of these departments. So to get them on the tax rolls, I think it's beneficial to the city, because if you've been on 7th Street or 8th Street or 9th Street, you'll see it's very blighted.
Councilman, again, I
understand what you're saying.
I'm not opposed to the sale. I believe that what we are presenting on the agenda is not reality. Let's say the reality should be what is it, the condition of the property, and get an assessment of that condition, and not what we have had historically in the books that shows that those properties are valued at $443,000 when in fact they are not.
Well, for purposes of the viewers, I want them to know that the properties are blighted, and that we know what's going on. I know what's going on with the properties, and we want the properties sold. So that's where I'm coming from with that.
Mr. B.A.?
Yes, Council President Eric Pennington, B.A. Councilman Gonzalez, as you pointed out, this is a repeating mantra, and one that should be taken seriously and has been. One of the issues that we have is, as Councilman McCallum has said, the properties are no longer in the condition they were when these were assessed before. We are, unfortunately, in the middle of trying to get an assessor. If we have an assessor, we can do, added assessments, which will add to or reduce the appropriate assessment. We have attempted to hire an assessor, and that effort failed. I think that one of the problems is the rate of pay we have on our books for an assessor right now is inappropriate. We are working to change that. We have an interim assessor now with and he has inadequate ability to do the added assessments that we're talking about. But your point, since I've been here for the last 2 months, we have been aggressively pursuing efforts to have these properties reevaluated. As Councilman McCallum has stated, these particular properties, some of them have been demolished since. So
I have been through the neighborhood. And
yeah.
I know. I am not questioning
understand
the sale price of the property. I'm questioning the assessed value of the property.
As sincere as you are, Mr. B.A., yes. It's okay. We've learned to accept our colleagues. Yeah.
I suppose part of me speaking up here now is an appeal that when the...
So take him to lunch, and maybe you'll stand a better chance.
There you go. Good enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
8F is a authorizing resolution for the Office of Municipal Council City Clerk for support for a special event. This is the Halsey Festival. Councilman Osborne sponsored.
Second.
7R8G is a authorizing resolution for the Office of Municipal Council City Clerk for support for a special event. This is the annual Puerto Rican Day Parade and Botanical Music Festival. Councilman Quintana wishes.
Boricua.
Boricua.
Help him out with the pronunciation, you all.
I make it up.
Take him to the hospital again.
I don't speak Spanish.
Show me your money back.
I know.
By all means.
Quintana wishes to sponsor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Councilman James? Roll call.
Amador,
Yes, it's not botanical.
Yes.
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 It came back worse.
Yes.
Osborne.
Yes.
Quintana. Ramos.
Yes.
Where's Claude?
Absolutely. Mr. Clerk?
8A is a ordinance amending ordinance 6 PSNF H of June 19, 2013, which amended and supplemented the code of the City of Newark to authorize the creation of a special improvement district in the city to be known as the Greater Newark Tourism Improvement District by adding definitions for hotel and hotel industry, and qualifies the collection of monthly administration fees of 0.0025% by changing the same to a quarterly payment of 1.0% of fees actually collected.
Madam President.
Let me thank the BA. I have been waiting for someone to recognize the need to condense the 0.25 not point, the 0.0025%, was such a small amount.
Madam President,
And
if I may, it's,
you-
I just received some language from the
Let me, by all means.
changing this, so after hotel and industry, and authorizes,
You're adding the word?
what, deleting and adding some language, yes. So after the second and, after industry, we're going to authorizes a quarterly fee payment of 1% being the fee actually collected. So it seems that they say the hotels are paying 1% when the ordinance says 0.0025. So what we're doing is conforming reality to the ordinance. Or actually making the ordinance reflect reality is what we're doing.
It's long over, you all don't have to come up, it's long overdue. Unless you just want to come up.
Look, here's a,
Okay.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good
And welcome
afternoon.
back. Glad you're-
Thank you so much. Good to be back.
So one thing that we wanted to do was make
Sorry,
sure,
state name and position.
my name is Karen Aaron. I'm the president.
I mean, we know who you are.
Okay. Keep going? Okay. So one thing that we wanted to do was make sure that the ordinance is reflective of what the process is that we're doing this year. So not just including the tip payment, which it was written in 2013 as 0.25%, the city's been collecting 1%. At least for a minimum of 2 years. So since I've been here, we've been collecting 1%. So we want to kind of keep that consistent to what we're doing. And then there also was some language in the original TID that the city was going to collect on a monthly basis, but the city is actually collecting on a quarterly basis. So we want to just make sure that we're following in line with the practices, the way the ordinance is written. So that was the sole purpose of us trying to kind of bring this thing all together, so it just kind of makes sense. But at least for a minimum of 2 to 3 years, the city has been collecting 1% every quarter. So it's been going pretty good. So 1% every quarter is the collection, but it's 1% annually. So it's based off of ADR and occupancy sales here in the city. So that was the primary purpose. And then if I may, I want to bring to your attention one other ordinance change that we're going to be working with EHD and the law department is the current ordinance is not written to protect the city or protect the CVB in the event of new hotels. So in the case of the Trip, in the case of Pastana, in the case of Home 2 Suites, they're not included in the collection. So we have to work along with the law department to rewrite that language. So if for perspective, if the city is collecting 1%, just those 3 hotels alone will average a net loss of $144,000 to the city alone. So right now, as new hotels come in, we need to protect ourselves, not just the Bureau, but also protect the city. So when those new development, those projects come in, that you all are covered. So we're going to be working with Evans and EHD and the law department to try to get that language set up. Because according to our timeline, we're looking at another 2 to 3 hotels that's coming in, and what we don't want to do is get behind the 8 ball with this as those new developments come in.
if I may, I believe it's a fairly simple change. We should not list the hotels on the ordinance. We should say any hotel located
Correct.
in the city of Newark, and that should cure any deficiency.
Yes, it should, but there's the way it's written now that it cannot, I don't know if it's through legal, if Viola will come up, because we talked about it a little earlier. I thought it would be a simple change, but apparently it's not. So.
Any special improvement district has to list the specific properties that are being assessed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, but this is not a special,
Yes, it is.
It's a hotel tax.
Yeah, but it's considered a special improvement district, so they have to list every property that's receiving that additional assessment. So that's why you have to list all the properties, because you're considered a special improvement district.
Okay. So just wanted to bring it to your attention. Any other questions?
So we can reach out to you.
Okay, perfect.
Into your
ask
office.
I have a question. So this doesn't
have,
increase the
more
amount of
questions.
money you're collecting because you're already collecting it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we're already collecting it. We're collecting the standard TID, and then the city is collecting 1%. So based on the hotels that's currently active in the TID, in the program.
Thank you.
All right? All right.
Mr. Clerk?
Madam President, we have a request to advance and adopt this on first reading as 6FC.
Second.
We have a mover and a seconder.
This will be 6FC. Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
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 Madam President, the ordinance adopted today on first reading will be advertised in accordance with law, and a public hearing will be held at the regular council meeting on September 19th, 2018, beginning at 6:30 p.m. or soon thereafter as is practical here in the council chambers. 8B is a authorizing resolution for the office of mayor for a reappointment to the Affirmative Action Review Council. Councilman Osborne wishes to move, second by Councilman Gonzalez. 8C is a authorizing resolution for the office of mayor for a reappointment to the Affirmative Action Review Council. Councilman James wishes to move, second by Councilman Osborne. 8D is a authorizing resolution for the office of mayor for a reappointment for the Affirmative Action Review Council. Councilman McCallum wishes to move, second by Councilman Gonzalez. 8E is a authorizing resolution for the office of mayor for the reappointment to the Affirmative Action Review Council. Councilman Osborne wishes to move, second by Councilman Quintana. And 8F is an authorizing resolution for the office of mayor for an appointment to the Affirmative Action Review Council. Councilman Quintana wishes to move, second by Councilman Osborne. Roll call.
Roll call, please.
Through 7R, 8F, through 8F, rather.
Yes.
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 Callum,
Yes.
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 We will delay motions until after the public hearing.
After public meeting.
I don't.
Welcome to
I'm
the.
sorry, Mr. Clerk.
We're delaying motions till after the public hearing?
Are there any motions?
I have one because I'm going
But
Yeah, a couple, but after the speakers.
after the speakers.
Yeah, Madam President, I have one because I'm going to have to excuse myself at some point. I would ask through your chair and the clerk's office that we convene, sit down with our economic development folks.
Yes.
Over the last few weeks, I've been made aware that a number of projects that have come through the planning and zoning board that are particularly in my ward have been sold to other developers, and that seems to be happening a lot. And I'm not sure what kind of controls we can impose over that process, or at least to ensure that we're made aware, because one of the projects was very contentious. There was a lot of community concern regarding this particular project, and I just found out yesterday that now you have another developer who purchased that project. So there seems to be, a trend that they're rushing to get these projects before the planning and zoning board, and within a short period of time, those projects are being sold to other developers and investors. So that's something we need to talk about. I don't know if there's any kind of legislative action we could take to prevent that from happening within a period of time. But at minimum, we should be made aware if those projects have been sold.
Thank you. This is not the first time this has come up for discussion, unfortunately. But the BA is in the room today. I saw you
Let me add another thing, Madam President, I want to include on the agenda when we have that sit down with them. We've made it very restrictive as it relates to the city's zoning requirements. So now a lot of projects, overwhelming number of projects, don't necessarily go to the planning board, they're going to the zoning board.
Right.
And the zoning board agenda, in order for you to get a spot on their agenda, now you're looking at February of 2019, which is crazy.
It is.
And you're potentially putting some projects at risk because of the fact that they're overwhelming, the city's Board of Adjustment. So, I would like to see, and I've had conversations with a few of our state legislators to see if they could change the law to allow Class A cities to temporarily appoint like a secondary zoning board to hopefully handle, the volume during these peak periods. But, we need to be aware of the fact that if you have a zoning board application right now and all your paperwork is in place, you're not getting a place on the agenda until February of 2019, which is definitely crazy. So.
Okay, I understand now. Mr. Clerk, you call for motions
Second on the motion?
before the hearing of citizens.
Yeah, I made the motion because I'm going to be excusing myself, so I apologize if I broke the
No, yeah, you requested.
Have a second for the motion?
Second.
Roll call.
Amador,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
Yes.
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 Osborne,
Yes.
Quintana,
Yes.
Ramos,
Yes.
Yes. Councilman Ramos?
No, I'm done. That was it.
That was it. Councilman Quintana?
I wanted to yield to hear the citizens first. Just like to yield and change it so we go back to the hearing of our citizens and then our motions. Because Councilman Ramos has to leave, but for that fact, I would just like to put that on the record.
Okay.
Second.
Second. Roll call? We'll put it on.
Amador,
Yes.
Gonzalez,
What are we voting on, changing the business? Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Welcome to the
Councilman,
Let's hear the
I'm
citizens.
sorry.
We're hearing the citizens.
Oh, yes, of course.
Welcome to the Newark Municipal Council's hearing of citizens. Only those individuals who have signed up by the closing deadline will be permitted to speak this afternoon. When your name is called, please step to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. You will be given 5 minutes to speak. You will see a small timing device on the podium in front of you, which will begin counting down your time when you begin speaking. When you reach the 4-minute mark, the yellow light will illuminate, indicating that you have 1 minute remaining for a summation. When you reach the 5th minute, the red light will illuminate, and there will be an audible sound indicating that your time has expired. Please look forward, speak into the microphone. We are recording these proceedings, and if you turn away, we may miss part of your statement. Please address questions to the chair and not to individual council members. The first speaker for this afternoon is James Powell.
Good afternoon. My name is James Powell. I live at 108-136 MLK Boulevard here in Newark, known as the Pavilion. Thank you, Madam President. Glad to see you here. Glad you're healthy. Healthy of all great Newarkers is up in the air in the last few weeks, so we're happy that everyone's well. I understand also the Councilwoman's comment that the right to counsel item has been deferred. I get it. But I'd like to take my opportunity at the hearing of the citizens to go over some of the notes I would have addressed as a way of kind of introducing, as a tenant and a resident, and also as a member of that ad hoc committee, introducing the ideas and concerns we had to the council as a whole and at large, so that you can sort of start to wrap your heads around what our thoughts are. And we have met with the city, just not in the last month, but we will, and we're going to let you kind of know what our thinking is. So we strongly opposed the legislation being passed as written, the one in front of you today, although we do strongly support the principle of right to counsel, obviously, and we have all collectively invested hundreds of hours in this effort. In other words, we're not grandstanding, we're all bought in, we're all for it. Some of the people in that group include some of the great people at the Ironbound Community Corporation, David Trout and Professor Narinda Hyatt at Rutgers Law School, Paula Francese, who wrote some of the editorials in NewJersey.com, and Kevin Kelly at Seton Hall Law School, Connie Pascal, Felipe Chavana, and Jose Ortiz at Essex Newark Legal Services, and me, myself, as a tenant, as a Newark resident, as a member of Homes for All Newark, and then again as a member of that group. So the main concern was that we felt the language was very poorly written. It seemed like a very quick cut and paste of the New York City text, but just adopted and maybe adjusted for Newark. It really seemed, I don't know, unprofessional, but just not fully baked, not even half baked. It set out the idea of right to counsel for 200% of the poverty line, but Then looking at the text, nothing in the text actually accomplishes that. That was one of the legal judgments from some of the lawyers in our group. And also, similarly, it seems to establish an actual right to counsel in the same way that criminal defendants get a right to counsel under the Gideon case. But the text, again, does not technically make that right to counsel. Just as in passing, the whereas clauses that introduce the whole thing, we agreed with fully. We felt like it was very vague. The whole idea of the designated organization was a big problem for us. It was very undefined. The structure of it, how it gets related to the city, what the legal setup is, were not specified at all. We felt that was a big red flag, being so open and vague. It doesn't set out its official goals or functions or boundaries or abilities. It doesn't specify to whom the designated organization reports. For example, the RCB or some new board, and it doesn't spell the relationship between the city and the organization and other groups such as law firms like McCarter and English that have that new program, or existing firms like Essex Newark, or maybe new attorneys that want to help out. So it's all undone. Second big thing was that the funding of it is not addressed at all, which again was a big red flag, because here you have this new organization, but there's no mechanism for it to get funding, how that would happen, whether it would come from the city, private organizations, or both. And again, that was a big red flag. One of the possible downsides of not even addressing that is that you could have this great text, flowery, lovely text, but with no funding, it could be toothless. So we don't want that. I should mention also that we felt, the group felt a little bit shut out in the last month. We met with the city in good faith, as the Corporation Council mentioned, and we hope to continue that dialogue. We're very hopeful and confident that that will happen. But we had reached out after the first reading at the council meeting a month ago. I had personally asked, we have some good ideas. We think there's some flaws significant enough to meet again, and just didn't hear anything back. So we were a little bit, I have to say, disappointed at the least about that. So the fact that we are meeting is very good, but I wanted to just let you know what's going on. I wanted to thank Councilman McIver for initially setting up a dialogue with my personal councilperson, and Nikki, her assistant, was very helpful in that. Just to recap, the whole group felt so very strongly that this was so bad that we did not want to support it as written, and we didn't do that lightly, but we're happy that we're moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Lisa Parker.
Angie. Thank you.
Lisa Parker, resident in Newark. My seniors on here from JFK today, but they'll be back because the disgusting display that the council had the man come back, but the seniors no longer have their swim program. But I'll get to that at the night meeting. I passed this out to you as a reminder that 4 years ago, George and Joyce Branch's house was declared uninhabitable and condemned due to sinkholes. You all are well aware that, those that were here then. How does the mayor and the at-large council members, engineering and water department not address or keep the residents informed of the sinkholes issue impacting our safety, property values, and ability to get insurance since 2014? Where have the at-large council people been? How could a house be condemned by the city and deemed uninhabitable now become available for sale for $1 in order to, as the realtor that was at our house, at our homeowners meeting last night, that she is going to fix it up to flip it to a nonprofit? Isn't that the same thing that Tamika Riley and now Victor Santos got in trouble for? Tamika went to jail and Santos is on trial now. Even if the house gets fixed, the city has not addressed the sinkholes in our backyards. And so I need to understand why you sent a young, inexperienced code enforcement officer to inspect the property in light of the complexity of the disrepair, the easement, and the sinkholes to give the person a conditional CO for the property. How is a property that's declared uninhabitable and you haven't addressed the sinkholes now become available for sale? At the same time, Montana Construction came to address our easement with our sewer line. He stated he did it as an in-kind for future contracts. I tried to Oprah the scope of work that Montana did in our backyards, and there was no reports available for what he did for the sewer in our backyard. Now Montana has water and sewer contracts. I'm asking, what are the certification and training given to code enforcement officers? Because whoever is there now should have some credentialing and knowing what building codes are, the scope of work, and come on, Ed Osborne, you know better than that. How do you sell and have for a nonprofit to flip this property and put steel beamers in it, as your engineer person said? So I'm requesting that the council solicit from the engineering department the entire report that was done for that property. And because Miss Williams, her engineer said, even if you attempt to fix it, the hole is going to expand. So we need to know now what the council members, this administration is going to do to repair the sinkholes and our easement. And since you got so much money for pipe sewers, that you should be earmarking money to address our sewer problem and to abate the property for the sinkholes. And so I'm looking for a response. The next thing, I gave you homework. Thank you, Councilwoman McGyver, to get the people to clean the lot. However, Metropolitan is not exempt from cleaning their lot. And I already spoke to Nikki about it. In addition to that, there's still no sidewalk on South Orange Avenue. The at-large, I gave you homework the last time I was here. The street sign on Bergen Street, Joe Cheney Field Way, that has not been replaced. I don't want another 30 days come by, Louis, and all the rest of you council members at large and the Central Ward, and not see that sign put back up on Bergen Street. Now, the engineering department needs to give us an update of what they did in that area, because they lied to the woman that is potentially going to buy it, to tell her the problem has been addressed. We still have sinkholes and buckling infrastructure and corrosion of the foundation of our homes.
Thank you very much.
I'm looking for a response.
This is not Q&A. You know that. This is the hearing.
No, well, as a council person, Madam Crump,
Miss Parker, you know what the rules are. Please take your seat.
What the citizens are deserving to have a response to the crisis that's going on in our community.
Ms. Parker, this is not a Q&A, as you well know. I was just about to say before you interrupted me that for those council members to whom she addressed particular comments, please make certain that you get back in touch with her within a very reasonable time. Thank you. Next speaker, Mr. Clerk. Miss Parker, Ms. Parker, please take your seat. Thank you. Next speaker, Mr. Clerk.
10-4 Evans.
Not appearing.
Carol Bodine.
I thought I saw her. Not appearing.
Arnold Foster.
Not appearing.
Janet Bradley.
Not appearing.
Denny Safalo.
Appearing. Good afternoon. Sorry.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Janice Afalo. I live at the Pavilion Apartments. I am here today to address certain issues of concerns at the Pavilion. We did have a listen and learn session with our newly elected Councilwoman MacGyver, and we were very much informed on what her intentions are for the Central Ward and what her intentions are in regards to some of the issues and concerns that are existing in the Central Ward, such as the Pavilion, the colonnades, and et cetera. So I am glad to hear that we are going to be continuing that progress. But we are in need of having a meeting of the minds with the new owners at the Pavilion, Salmon Capital. There are a lot of issues of concerns. In my mind, it is nice that they have put out benches and, tables for the residents at the Pavilion, but there are more critical needs inside the building, such as carpet cleaning, purchasing a vacuum to make sure that the carpets get vacuumed, stairwell, security cameras in our hallways and our stairwells or whatever. And with that being said, we have 4 council at large. I am going to suggest that our 4 council at large try to set up quarterly meetings with tenant advocates or community leaders at least twice a year to hear us, not to hear what we are saying. We know that we have our Central Ward Councilwoman, but we also want to see all 4 at large standing behind her and trying to aid us in our concerns. We have cracked sidewalks. I have broken like 3 pairs of shoes, coming across cracked sidewalks. Simple things as, just keeping the property clean. Simple things as just trying to get lights in the parking lot, and they keep saying it belongs to PS&G. Those lights are not part of PS&G. We need to have the owners understand that they are in need to provide a quality of life for any resident that lives at the Pavilion. With that being said, Councilman Ramos, the security ordinance, I thank you for taking on that challenge. But there are concerns with that security ordinance, and I believe that we did speak to Councilwoman MacGyver on those issues. I would like to see it go to 75 units. I would like to also understand how is it going to work once the residents, for example, at the Pavilion, we have 680 apartments. I believe the ordinance is stating 65% of residents have to sign that petition. So once that takes place, what happens? Because you said that we have to go back to code enforcement, the Department of Engineering. So what is the process from there? It's something that I feel that it needs to be more constructive, where if it's applicable to the landlords, that they need to understand that security is the most high on the list as the quality of life for the residents in the city of Newark. Lastly, I want to say welcome back, President Crump.
Thank you.
I did leave you a couple of messages, my husband and I, just
you.
seeing how you were doing. So it's good to see you. With that being said, I look forward to the next 4 years, but I want them to be 4 productive years. I asked last year, the year before that, for our at-large to come together and work with us. We need to see you in the pavilion. We need to see you in the colonnades, not just our councilwoman. I thank you for your time.
Council President.
Thank you very much, Councilwoman McIver.
So first of all, I want to thank you, Ms. Janice, for your comments. I want to make 2 points. One, we are working with the new owners of the pavilions to schedule a meeting with the residents there very soon. We hope to have one scheduled before the end of the month, so we will have that happening. In addition, I do want to make comments in regards to the housing ordinance. I know I spoke to you in Freedom the other day. Just last night, we put some new additions to the housing ordinance in regards to 50 to 100 units being required to have a security guard with some, of course, some restrictions and some, some stipulations, to that. So we have worked on that, and I'll make sure that you and Freedom and whoever else is with you guys today get a copy of that before you leave. But I do understand your concerns. We have been having many listening and learning sessions, and throughout the Central Ward, many of the problems are with management and landlords, which is probably 60% of my problem. And so we do need to look at addressing the situations with these landlords in the city of Newark. And I ask my council colleagues to join me on that as I try to create some new legislation for a zero tolerance policy for slum landlords in our city. It is very crucial. It is upsetting to hear some of the stories that we hear after we get to digging through the information from residents regarding landlords. I'm sure all of my council colleagues get calls regarding whether it's elevators being down, feces problems, bed bugs, whatever it may be. It is a huge issue in our city, and we definitely need to get together and address it. So thank you, Ms. Janice, for those comments.
Madam President.
Thank you, Councilman Ramos.
Yeah, I just want to state that the amendment introduced by Councilwoman McIver does address the issue of possibility of imposing additional security requirements on those units between 50 and 100. For those apartment buildings over 100 units, the current requirement is 24-hour security, a minimum of 8 hours armed guard. What the ordinance does, it enables the tenants to petition the Department of Public Safety for additional security requirements that are going to be imposed on the property owner. So in the issue of the colonnades, there's an assessment done, and it could include a combination of technology, additional hours of coverage, additional armed guard. It varies. But you bring up a point where the Councilman and I were talking yesterday, is that these ordinances are only as valuable as the city is able to go out and do enforcement and hold these property owners accountable when they reach Newark Municipal Court. And we know sometimes they come in with high-powered attorneys, they're able to get their cases adjourned or their fines reduced. So, the enforcement piece definitely has to be there in order for this to be able to work. But what we try to do here and accomplish here is to take the larger apartment buildings and not put the same requirements on all of them, but enable us on a case-by-case basis to come up with different security approaches to best serve the needs of tenants and residents. And hopefully this will accomplish that. And on the reverse side, like I've mentioned before, I have apartment buildings that are mostly comprised of seniors in the North Ward, where they've actually petitioned that they don't want to see an armed guard in their building. They'd rather have 24-hour security, and this will also enable them to petition for that as well.
Thank you. Next speaker, Mr. Clerk.
William Bremner.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Freedom Bremner. I am the interim president of the CRC, the Colonnade Residents Coalition. Thank you for allowing me to speak this afternoon. It's good to be here. I'm encouraged by some of what I've just heard. I'm going to be speaking on some of the same issues that Ms. Afolo was addressing. Because I am not privy to the most recent things that have been added to your draft, Councilman Ramos, last night, some of this I'm hearing for the first time. I'm encouraged to hear that some of these issues are being looked at further. The draft that I have of the security ordinance, I see some really great ideas, and I see the potential for things that really serve the citizens of Newark, but I also see some inherent problems that we've already started to discuss. Enforcement, of course, that's the big thing. I'm not a big fan of one-size-fits-all solutions, and I have been present listening to seniors. I was moved when I heard some seniors say that they didn't want armed guards in their building, and I do believe that there should be a mechanism for buildings to be able to customize their security needs. However, I'm of the mindset that we should err on the side of overprotecting. And if there's going to be a petition process that residents have, if they want to decrease, that's great. But I do think in the case of my building, the Colonnade, for instance, we would be benefited, and I think most units, most buildings that have, say, 50 to 100 units per building would be benefited by 24-hour unarmed guard service, accompanied by 8-hour armed guard service. So that's 24 hours unarmed, 8 hours armed. I'm going to just tell you a brief story. There was an assault at the Colonnade earlier this month. I came downstairs, I saw a man covered in blood. He had been attacked by 2 people on the Colonnade property. Now, this attack apparently stems from some sort of domestic dispute, but the cause is really irrelevant. Someone was beaten badly on the Colonnade property under the current security guard ordinance that is not being obeyed by the owners of my building, PF Holdings. We are underguarded, and what's going on right now is illegal. I want to thank Councilwoman MacGyver for her help in bringing code enforcement to do a thorough inspection on August 20th of my building, the Colonnade Apartments. As a result, it's my understanding that PF Holdings was summoned to court and will be facing charges for failure to repair ventilation and for failure to provide adequate security. However, I'm very grateful for that, by the way. And I want to tell another code enforcement story that was a positive story later on. It has taken me and the residents of my building reaching out to the councilwoman, countless meetings, coming here, this is now my 3rd time, and a period of 4 months to get to the point where there's even a court date for the owners of the Colonnade who are currently breaking the current ordinance. My biggest fear with this new ordinance is, yes, there's a petition process that allows you to customize it. How is that going to work? Because as I understand it, the body responsible for managing this, the residents' requests for what kind of security they want is code enforcement. If it takes 5 months to get an inspection and to get a court date, which is not done yet, we haven't met their army of lawyers yet. We don't even know what that court date is going to provide us with. How can we have faith in this petition system? Code enforcement takes too long, and it is not effective. That's not me being critical. That's just a fact. It's 5 months. And we're just now ending up in court, and there are still wide open buildings, wide open doors, the Colonnade Apartments. You can walk into the Colonnade Apartments at 9:15 without anyone stopping you. I want to go back to the assault that happened on the property. The unarmed guard saw the assault. Okay, well, my time is up. Is my time up?
Yes, it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
To be continued. Next speaker, Mr. Clerk.
Jay Arena.
Good afternoon. My name is Jay Arena. I'm the Jobs and Equal Rights for All candidate for Essex County and Executive, and I'm a resident here of Newark. Once again, I want to ask this council, which side are you on with regard to the burning issue of our day? Are you on the side of Donald Trump and his partner, County Executive Joseph DiVincenzo, who runs one of the largest ICE concentration camps in the country, right here in this city, in the immigrant quarter, in the East Ward? I know you're into special districts. We might call it the special deportation district. And now, Mr. DiVincenzo has finally broken his silence and has openly said that he's for this blood money contract. And here, for our viewers, might be hard to see, but this is his signature, his name on the contract with Trump for this concentration camp. So are you on that side, or are you on the side of a growing movement in this city, in this county, and around the country that's demanding an end to these ICE concentration camps, abolishing ICE, and winning and protecting the 14th Amendment, which guarantees equal rights for all? And you can take that side by joining, just as the city councils in Hoboken and Jersey City have, and call on your county executive and your political ally, and for some employer, and to demand that he break this contract, and the Essex County freeholders who have that power. They have that power under the contract. And so we're asking you to do that. We're demanding this growing movement, and of course many cannot break away, come down here midday to tell you that, but this is a growing movement. Now, in the past, you have hidden behind inaction by arguing, well, we're a sanctuary city. Well, of course, this is bogus when you have this deportation center right here in your backyard, but it's even more bankrupt when you're not even living up to your minimum so-called sanctuary city guidelines. Ask immigrant Danielle Castro, had worked here for many years, no criminal record, was stopped by the Newark cops, racially profiled, you're a gangster, and handed over, from a traffic stop, and handed over to ICE Gestapo agents, which our radical mayor has correctly called modern-day slave catchers. That's bogus. You've also hidden behind the claim, well, we can't do anything. We don't control the jails. That's the count. That's our man Joe D, Deportation Joe. But you also don't control the schools, right? But that didn't stop Councilman Ramos in May of 2015 introducing and passing a resolution with 5-2 vote to oppose a bill in the state legislature that would put a 3-year minimum, 3-year freeze on the expansion of charter schools in the privatization agenda. So what is it? You'll take resolutions when Wall Street tells you to do because they don't want any blocks on them gobbling up public education, but you won't take a stand when a growing grassroots movement of immigrants and those born in this country, working class people, that are telling you to have some backbone and stand up to Joe D? When is this silence going to be broken? We have not heard anything from this city council. We have not heard anything from the Essex County freeholders. In fact, we haven't heard anything from these so-called nonprofit advocates that are getting all kinds of money to supposedly defend immigrants. Does Joe D, I don't know, seriously, does he require you guys and women to take a vow of silence? I mean, even in Hudson County, which also has a ICE blood money contract. Your buddy, the warmonger, Bob Menendez, in the fight for his political life, has had to come out and condemn his fellow Democrats in Hudson County. And yet, we still have silence, utter silence. Is this a dictator? Well, how does Essex County run? And so, until you take a resolution, I think we're going to have to change the words of the poem on the monument.
Thank you. So,
let me just finish 1 second. Could I give?
thank you. I did not allow anyone else to go beyond. We have important business. Please take your seat. Thank you. Next speaker, Mr. Clerk.
Ronald Reams.
Good afternoon, council members. If
he comes, oh, okay.
Yes, first thing I want to say is that you have my address wrong. It should be 90 Orton Street. I'm sure you're familiar with it.
The street is Orton? Hello?
Okay, and my problem is, I'm born, bred, and fed in Newark all my life. I'm still there at the same house where I was born. And I remember that man right there used to be, I was talking with Ms. Crump about Donald Payne used to be my father's paper boy.
Yes, he was.
Yeah, right, you remember, right? Newark Evening News or Star Ledger, I don't remember which. But I have this house, that, like I said, 90 Orton Street. Then you go out to the backyard, and there's like a carriage house, the old-fashioned. There's still some houses in North Newark like that where there's a two-story carriage house that I now use for a garage. And I only use one half of it. And like I was saying to Ms. Crump earlier, they built some houses back there, what is now called Delavan Place, which is between Delavan Avenue and Chester Avenue. And it's east parallel to Broadway, okay? And they have two-car driveways and they have a garage. But I noticed what they've done with most of those houses, they're two families, but inordinately they turn them into three families, as you know. They make space for the third apartment. So you have an inordinate amount of cars parking on what looks like what is a single street one way. So when someone's coming in, you have to kind of back out or pull over so someone can come out. It's very frustrating. So as you can see from that, I don't have much room to maneuver in and out of my garage. And because the walls of my garage are just a little bit bigger on the side, so I can't make a sharp turn. So these people, they have, the cars are bigger than their houses pretty much. They got the Escalades and big Explorers, and so if they put them in their driveway in their garage, that's fine, I have no problem. But what happens, they take that car and put it like in front of their driveway. Now that leaves me very little room to maneuver out, and then when I come back, I come in and I back in this way. So sometimes, you got the house 30, 32, and 34, and they all do this. And lots of times, they'll put their car, just because maybe they don't feel like putting it in the driveway, they just parking in front of the house, and the dual-car driveway is empty. And as those pictures should attest, you can see my problem with that. And it's very frustrating. Now, I've retired, but I said to myself, I've always been a good employee, punctual, but I said lots of times when I want to go out, there's a car blocking me. Now, if I get another job, I might be late because of somebody's car. And sometimes I hate to say some people can be less than polite and generous. They will refuse to remove the car. I don't want to honk the horn on and on, disturbing the neighborhood. So what do you do? And if I should go out, I'm almost afraid to go out at night because when I come back, there's no place to put my car. I can't get in my own garage. And then I can't park on the front of my street, Orton Street, because everybody doubles parks. And you meander, you go like this. One of these days, it's crazy. So I was hoping that, I'll give you some background also. The garbage truckers had a hard time going back there. because it's so narrow, as you can see. And so what they did, they said, no parking on the left-hand side, which is the front door of my garage. So when you see that, and then other people, the neighborhood's getting built up, everybody's using their garage. So not only I have problems coming out, but all my neighbors on my side have problems coming out. So it's a real mess. So I just thought if you could get some kind of code enforcement where they cannot park directly in front of their driveway. Just when I came here today, there's a guy who had his big truck there, and his driveway was empty. He could have pulled it in, allow me to get out. So that's my issue.
Madam President.
Councilman Ramos.
I definitely thank you for coming and understand your frustration and concerns. We had a homeowner from that area who came before us late last year, which is why we restricted the parking to one side of the street in order to facilitate the snow plows coming through during winter months, and also to help out our sanitation folks as they're doing their pickups. But I would ask if someone from the clerk's office can give me this gentleman's number so that I can personally come by, bring a representative from Traffic and Signals and also Newark Police to see what kind of options we can come up with to assist, whether, installing no parking signs in certain areas of the block, or even basic enforcement on the police side. If someone's parking in front of their driveway, that's a ticket.
Yeah.
So, those are the kind of things that I could think of very quickly. But I'd like to go there myself and have Ms. Singletary and also Captain Soares from the North District come with me. But I need your information, okay?
What's that?
I need your information, so I'm going to
Okay.
ask somebody from the clerk's office to get it to me.
Should I go over there now? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Opal
I'm
R.
sorry.
Wright.
Not appearing.
Deborah Salters.
Appearing.
Deborah Salters is here.
Hi.
Hi. Deborah Salters, City of Newark, good afternoon. I'm going to ask you a question. So, say for example, I am a contractor, and you hire me to build you a new porch. And I finish the porch, and it's beautiful, but you go up on the porch, and you fall through it. Of course, you're going to be amazed, and you're going to want to sue my company, right? And you're going to fire me and hire someone else. So why then would we fire Jack Kelly on 629, and then he be hired back by the mayor as a consultant? Clearly, he was not able to do his job as BA and the things that we needed him to do for $178,000. So now he's hired at $65 an hour, which is only $42,000 less than what he was making as a BA. So for however long the period is, but what I'm saying is, if he could not do the job as the BA, why then was he hired again as a consultant? You wouldn't hire my company if you fell through the porch to consult the people that you have now building your porch again. Something to think about. But I have to shift gears because of something that's more pressing. So about 3 Wednesdays ago, I went to the Women's Center. I'm not even going to say her name because it's a disgrace to even put her name on it, 300 Clinton Avenue. Now, that's my neighborhood. That's where I go, and I help the citizens there. My cousin and I were feeding the homeless there, and I give out clothes there and things like that. So about 3 Wednesdays ago, I went to the Women's Center to get Kim Gilchrist and Asia, who I know are beneficial, they're thorough, they're efficient. So I went to the center to get them, to bring them to the street to give this woman help that needed help. As I did that, of course, there was some scuttlebutt and things going on. People on the porch, they're looking, they have their comments, and, oh, they brought me here to do this or that. Was not the case. Woman needed help. It was one of the hottest days of the year. Did not want to go into the center because of the treatment that the people get when they go in there. It's hot. I'm encouraging people, go in there. This is a community center for everybody. Get some cold water, get some air. We're not going in there. We don't like it. So I enter the center, and as I enter the center with Kim, I am almost physically accosted by Kettles, who is the quasi-grief counselor there. And I say quasi because she's the grief counselor, but causing all the grief in the center and in the community. So what I'm saying to you now is the center's been open for 18 months. And Councilman James, when I came in February and I spoke about the center, we had a discussion about it, growing pains and things like that. There's a difference between growing pains and disgusting, unconscionable behavior to the citizens that we are supposed to be serving, protecting, and providing for. Okay, I said back then, 3 months into the center opening, I was telling Stacey Hillsman what was going on. I begged for a meeting for 6 months because of the things that were happening there. It's a continual repetition of mistreatment of the people in that community, to the point where they're wondering why it's there. Okay, I was going to bring a van full of people today, but the person that was supposed to provide the van is too hot for the people to be on the bus and things like this. But you need to know that the way I was treated was disgusting. I was in my face. You have Regina Fitch, who is the site manager, who is unfit. You have Amina Bay, who I was told would not be the director, who is unfit to be the director, who is never there, makes arbitrary decisions about people who are supposed to be there, not be there, based on the troubled people in that center, okay? I was told to go back to the street by the site manager. You can go back in the street with the people in the street. Really? To the point I had kettles in my face where I could have pressed charges, and maybe I will. But this is what is going on in this center that's supposed to be there to help the people. And I'm coming to you because I left it alone because, you know, like you said, growing pains. But this is consistent behavior. Regina Fitch needs to be replaced. Kettles needs to be removed. Amina Bay needs to go as director. If anyone's a director, I mean, she was sitting in a meeting that Newark is never invited to. She's putting on Facebook, I'm one of the only blacks in here, and you know, these are people that could have given funding to this center, could have given funding. I get the screenshot. Now, all of these people are seeing this. They're asking her questions she doesn't have the answers to. So all of these things are going on, and I mentioned this a year ago. But I'm treated like the public enemy. I'm telling you, you all need to take evaluation of what is going on in this community. Isn't that the South Ward? It needs to be done.
Thank you, Ms. Salter. Next speaker, Mr. Clerk.
Louis Shockley.
I know I saw him. Oh.
Got something for you guys. You know, I like to give you guys stuff.
Thank you. Who is this?
Louis Shockley, citizen of Newark, born and raised. What I just passed out to you is the resume for Natasha L. Rogers, JD, MBA. It's from our Oprah request that I had requested. And if you look at the copy, go to the Goldman Sachs work experience part, you see it's faded out. That's just how I received it. I mean, that's kind of bad giving somebody put in an Oprah request a bad copy like that. You know, but that happens quite a bit when the numbers are wrong on the page for the amount to sell, and then Councilman Gonzalez has to argue with Donna Jackson about the tax amount being right or not. I mean, are we professional or are we not? This is not nothing I would send out to anybody like this. I would have went back to that person and requested a better copy of some sort. But let's get into how this person and the BA's office salary went up by, the overall budget went up by $316,000. $316,000. This person is not a certified BA. There's only one certified person who took a state test who works for the city in the capacity in the BA's office. I requested also on my resume, the BA's resume, Mr. Pendleton, not received. So I'll be taking this to the ACLU and the GRC. Also ask for any outstanding contracts that the BA currently may have as a criminal attorney. Because if he has other outside business, again, how is he doing our business? We live in a 24-hour-a-day cycle. Not 38, not 32, not 48. There's not enough hours in a day for you guys to do all the stuff that you're supposedly doing. You guys got cute when you got rid of the elected, do office holdings, thought that would get the heat off you with the people. But see, people starting to get it. You can't be a councilman and work for the county and then sit on 2 other boards. It ain't enough hours in a day. I ain't got no damn kids, I can't do that.
Excuse me, watch your language.
Man, this is America. This is America. If the president can say some of the stuff that he can get away with saying, I know I can say that.
Nobody else did.
Okay? So, excuse me, reclaiming my time.
Thank you.
We have to get serious. How is this person vetted? What were the questions asked? Okay? I mean, the BA is not even a BA. We haven't had a BA since Mayor Sharp James. Not one. Remember Bo Kemp? 7 failed bankruptcies? Remember him? Remember Michelle, I forget her last name. Remember her? Thomas, I think it was. Remember her? None of these people were BAs. I ran restaurants that made $1.2 million. I worked with Carlin English. I mean, come on. Do you guys have any idea what's going on globally? Can the BA tell me how is the interest rate going to affect the bond rate for these projects that are coming out? Or can his assistant tell me that? Can they tell me that? Can they tell me what's going on in emerging markets with the crash in Turkey and Argentina and Venezuela? Puerto Rico's been broke before Maria hit. They were broke. Now they got more problems. People getting arrested, food being left to spoil. We have to hire people who can do their job. We have to hire people who take these tests. When I was with Mayor Quintana, we weren't there 6 months. I got a letter from the state. Here, take this test for being mayor's aide. And in there it had a bilingual piece. And I was like, damn, I don't have enough time to try to brush up on my Spanish to try to, take this test at this time. But every job I had with the city, I took a test. Your father taught me that. Kenny Gibson said that. It's job security. Take the test, be a civil servant. That's how Corey got rid of all these people. I was amazed at how many people were still provisional. I was shocked. I was like, you guys been here for 20 years. You didn't go take the test? Really? You can take it as many times as you want. I knew lawyers at McCarty English, partners. Took the test 7 times before he passed. Cory Booker didn't pass first time. When Cory Booker was sitting here telling everybody he was a lawyer, he was a councilman in Central Ward, he ain't passed the bar at that time. Go look it up. So I'm still waiting for these requests to be fulfilled. Also, I'd like to know, how did we spend $102,000 on the picnic and $78,000 of it went to buses? And that request is not fulfilled, because all I got no receipts for the money that was collected for the tickets. I didn't get that part of it. So some of these things will be getting filed through GRC and with the ACLU. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Mr. Clerk.
Manura El-Bamani.
Hearing.
Appearing. So, Manira El-Bumani, citizen of Newark, longtime advocate. First and foremost, let me give praise to the Creator for my life, for good health and prosperity. Greetings to our government overseers, Newark residents and guests. As I always repeat, Newark residents, if things ain't getting any better for you, such as high unemployment, high poverty, lack of municipal services, abandoned and vacant properties, potholes, trash, we still got bulk piled up. My clear message to you once again, recall 2019. Newark homeless crisis, message to the overseers, the message is simple. find the money, ask these developers and these corporations who owe us money in this affordable housing trust fund and all these trust funds that you have to unleash our money. Simple. To our county, state, and federal officials, we need you. We need you to take off your social blinders. We need you to set up an investigation to find out what has happened, because Booker just gave $45 million, just 2017, towards ending homelessness. We want to find out, and we want you to find out and investigate where the money on the city and the county level, where's this money to end homelessness? Newark residents, you already know, and council members, we are in a state of emergency here. We need these shelters to remain open until you develop transitional, supportive, and lower-income housing to meet the needs of the low-income residents of this city. We need you to put that rapid housing, rehousing program, we need that to go in full effect, and we need that right now. To the city, to the county legislators, and the state legislators, we need you now to amend that cold blue legislation that you have on the book. We need you to expand that to code red and attach some funding to it while you're at it. We also need you to consider establishing city leaders, state leaders, county leaders, a homeless bill of rights in this city, moving forward. Calling on you private landowners, you private building owners, and that's the city too, faith-based and community-based organizations, we calling on you to please, once again, please, at the sound of my voice, please open up your doors and help our less fortunate brothers and sisters. This homeless epidemic in this city is the worst I've ever seen in all the years that I've been living in this city. And I know it's the worst y'all seen too. Slumlord alert. Our sister gave you a clear warning at that Garden Spires. So the slumlord alert is in full effect. To the Newark residents, I'm saying to you, if you're living in these HUD building, any building that's getting HUD, that's dilapidated, my clear message is to you, is to contact Miss Lynn, the power broker Payton. I'm gonna call her that because she was powerful at that meeting. She's the HUD new regional director under Trump's administration at that. Trump, a Republican. And she made a stiff warning to you slumlords, and she also made a stiff warning. But I want to say, because I was at that hearing, and I don't want to lie. I don't want to, you know, he was looking directly in my eyes. But I attended the Garden Spice press conference, where I lived and advocated and still advocate over 20 years for better opportunities and conditions and decent and affordable housing. But this mayor, I want to ask you for the record. You looked directly in my eyes. You made this derogatory comment saying people here who ain't did a damn thing. Now, he said this. This was the curse word he used, because I got a witness to that never did a damn thing to help Garden Spires at all. With over 2,000 code enforcement complaints, you must have been talking about yourself and Cory Booker, who staged his political career 2 weeks in the Garden Spires.
Please take your seat. Thank you. Thank you. Next speaker, Mr. Clerk.
Arlene M. Fields.
Thank you. It was a great event yesterday. I was there too. Too bad you didn't like it. Next speaker, Mr. Clerk. Oh, Ms. Bomani, take your seat. You made your point, you made your point, sweetheart.
Colleen M. Fields.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you.
Put the mic up.
Oh.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no other God but Allah for me. Okay. I just want to say that I am very disillusioned. I really don't know what to do, and I am mad as a junkyard dog. I've watched and I've watched and I've watched the racism in America. I just can't be silent. It would kill me to be silent. And we have an SOB of a government that don't give a damn, is in the Bible, Ms. about black people. And you know, it's come to the point where I think that a lot of black people are giving up. They're really giving up. But I'm here today to concur that there is no racist greater than a black man, a black woman, a little black boy, or a little black girl. There is not one. And any time that you full of hate like that, it's really sad. We have a SOB of a president that is promoting racism. I got something on Facebook where this cracker down south. All right, Ms. Crump, I got a freedom of speech, and I'm going to say what I got to say.
I know.
Whether you like it or not, I'm going to say it.
Okay.
So the police can come and get me. But listen, he's promoting racism. He's promoting that when you put a black man in a car, rough him up and don't cover his head. But I was trying to tell you that the little cracker down there with the Confederate flag, that they tried to stop us, but we got through, that hung a little girl, looked like she 14 or 15 by the neck in Mississippi. They blocked some of us, but I said, everybody shoot it out. Some people, they didn't get through. This thing is real. We're at war like never before. And when I talk about a racist, I don't want you to get it twisted. I'm not just talking about a Caucasian. I'm talking about a Puerto Rican. I'm talking about a Jew. I'm talking about a Dominican. Okay. I'm talking about a Chinese. I'm talking about a Japanese. I'm talking about a Portuguese. They think they white, but whatever. And you're not. But anyway, I'm talking about Mexicans, and I'm talking about people from India. And I am really upset, and I'll be the first one on the line. We got a police director that's a racist Italian pig that had the audacity to slap me in my face.
I love you, but you know, you got to go back and stay focused.
I got to what?
Stay focused.
So what?
We need you to stay focused so you can finish.
Why am I not focused? Yeah, how can you sit up there and say I'm not focused, Ms. Crump? You know what? You're being a house Negro. That's what you're being. I love you to death, but don't tell me how to stay focused when you're not focused. You're not fighting for us because I said something about him. And let me tell you something, and I'm hurt that he did that to me. And if I could figure out a way, they tell me not to say it. If I could figure out a way to kill Ambrose, I would kill him. I swear to God on my grandfather's grave. I would kill him. And y'all just want to cover it up. That's all y'all want to do. Well, guess what, Sister Calhoun?
No.
Minerva. And listen here. Y'all ain't right.
Sorry.
Y'all ain't right. They treat me and I don't have to come to this land. People ask me to come to this land.
Very good. Next speaker.
Donald Jackson.
Next speaker.
Donald Jackson.
I couldn't hear what she said. Okay. So, no. We're going to ban her.
No, Donna Jackson.
Mr. Clerk.
Yes.
There will be there will be a quick meeting immediately following the closing.
Yes, ma'am.
So please don't leave.
Yes, ma'am.
Next speaker, please.
Donna Jackson.
Not appearing. Did you say Donna? Yes.
Donald and Donna.
Neither. Not appearing.
Okay. Derek Ross.
Not appearing.
David Contreras.
Not appearing.
John Kulo.
Mike up. Mike.
About the forum facility on Cornelia Street. Okay, for several years now, the forum facility has turned Joseph Street and Euclid Avenue into a truck stop. I have repeatedly called the Newark Police to enforce the ban on commercial parking with no results. The commercial tractor trailers are parked for many hours, sometimes days, on Joseph Street, while drivers sleep inside. Joseph Street and Euclid Avenue is not a safe place for drivers to sleep. Drivers were robbed. Shots were fired on Albert Avenue. Those illegally parked vehicles pose a danger to pedestrians and motorists. Those tractor trailers have knocked down fire hydrant street signs in the neighborhood. The idling 12 to 15 trucks and trailers all night long on Joseph Street have built up toxic fumes which enter my home on Joseph Street. Those commercial trucks violate all traffic laws with immunity. The streets cannot be swept or plowed. I had the tree in front of my house was knocked down and my sidewalk was damaged. Now I have to pay to repair it. I appeared before the Central Planning Board when Betty Grayson spoke. She said that all the produce deliveries will be coming in on rail cars, which is not true. The rail line is rusted away. Okay? And Councilman Amador, say hello to Joe Polavecchio. Good night.
Next speaker.
Nelson Long.
Not appearing. He called and said he would not.
Cassandra Dock.
Not appearing.
Earl Street Doctor Best.
I thought oh, there he is.
Earl Street, Dr. Best, P.O. Box 28225, Newark, New Jersey. Very briefly, I would like to use 10 seconds of my time for a great person that worked for the city of Newark. We call it him Pop. To the people that know him from here and the streets, I want 10 seconds. Appreciate that. Thank y'all. And he appreciated wherever he at, and I believe that he's in heaven. Thank you, sis. All right, what I just passed y'all was a flyer, and tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we will be celebrating the life of this great giant that worked it for the city of Newark. Again, to the people who didn't know him, he used to clean the floors, but he was bigger than just cleaning the floors. I would like to say it now, is that somebody lost their wallet in the bathroom. He went and found the people and gave them the wallet. Deep guy. So that's tomorrow. The reason why we ask everybody is to bring a balloon is that we're going to be on the front of the steps of the City Hall, and we're going to take the balloons and we're going to let them go. 5 minutes. So I believe that we can get 1,000 people tomorrow for this great servant of the city of Newark. I believe the floors are not going to be that way no more. Very clean guy. All right, so now, since that's out the way, let me get with me. April.
Excuse me. Let's start him from the beginning, because part of your time was used in tribute. So we want to give you your full 5 minutes.
Thank you. I ain't gonna be that long anyway. No, good looking out. All right, very briefly. April last year, I retired from the city of Newark for a reason. And the reason was because I wanted to get a contract with the city with my cleaning company. Me and the vice president, Mr. Marvin Ellison. Yesterday, I received word that, it's emotional, man. Yesterday, I received word that I couldn't get the contract. That hurt it. So I got a call from this other company that's been helping us out above water, Paramount, to the people who on the board. Some of y'all know them. Paramount, they've been good to us. So we have some Newark people working for us. Told me to hang in there. It's hard, man. To the people who are listening, it's a lot of work. But I want to give some thanks. One of them is Aisha Glover. I want to say thank you to her because when we started, they helped us with our paperwork. The other one is Mr. Cologne. The other one is Mr. Shabazz. The other one is Joe. The other one is Osborne. Now let me tell you why I mentioned the two up there so it won't be no conflict. What happened was they was some of the ones that told me not to quit. You know, I'm shaking now. I'm ready to throw the towel in. But I got to do this. With the exception of Paramount, I'm going to shut these construction sites down. I'm coming out of this suit. I'm putting on my stuff. I got so many people, you understand, want to help me. I'm stepping on their concrete. Unless there's two people on this council, I'm going to save face just for y'all two. That's you, Joe, and that's you, Mr. Osborne. Tell them to do the right thing, man. Okay? We trying to help, man. We're a small company, and we trying to help. Our office, we lost our office, but we still moving. You see what I'm saying? But I'm telling you, man, I'm going to do the Martin Luther King on them. Y'all know me. They call it civil disobedient. I shut them down. I get in front of the tanks. I'm talking about tank. Made me think of China when the Lord Chinese got in front of the tank and changed the whole spectrum. You know, excuse me, my mind is moving. I'm going to get them. This ain't no threat. This is a promise, man. Got so many people want jobs here, man. You feel what I'm saying? And there's some people in Newark that want to work. Everybody ain't messed up. Everybody, you don't see they Fruit of Looms. A lot of these kids and stuff want to work. And I'm going to say something. I hear this sister in the back, right? I see her out there fighting. I'm talking about you, so I just heard your voice. And all the rest of the little activists that get up here and y'all be going at it, they be passionate with it. That's why I jumped up and went back there. They be passionate with it. And I love passion because it ain't fake. And they're tired of seeing people coming and getting all these jobs and stuff, and they don't. You see what I'm saying? So I just wanted to drop that. Thank you for that little time, and hope to see y'all tomorrow for that brother. And I'm going to just say this real quick. I appreciate y'all. Let me tell you why. I never see y'all disrespect. Even though we go off on the mic, I see y'all be holding it and y'all don't say nothing. They don't do that up at that county. You go anywhere else besides in Newark, they ain't tolerating that. So I just want to just thank y'all for tolerating, you know, the stuff. And the reason why y'all tolerate it, because y'all from Newark. A lot of y'all from the hood. Thank you so much.
Wow.
Shut him down. He ain't scared of Joey B.
Is that?
Rick Farad?
That's Ford.
Ford, sorry, Ford.
Okay. My name's Rick Ford. I live at 37 Synod Place in Newark. I'm once again speaking on behalf of the War Against Poverty Coalition. I speak today on the issues of homelessness, poverty, gentrification, and racism. We came before this council in November 2017 and again in May of 2018. In May, we spoke in strong opposition to the May 31st cutoff of funding by the city for the shelter for the homeless located at 224 Sussex Avenue in Newark. After our speak out, several rallies of the residents themselves and their supporters took place on City Hall steps and elsewhere. Somehow the city found money to continue to fund the shelter for June, but only for that month. In a meeting with the Newark Coalition for the Homeless in June 2018, the mayor stated flatly that the city would no longer fund the shelter. The shelter was scheduled to close on June 30th. For July, the mayor announced that certain corporate sponsors would fund the shelter for 1 month. The shelter was again scheduled to close July 31st. There was an extension till August 31st, where it was again supposed to close. Then again, 2 days before the shelter was scheduled to close, the shelter management announced that the shelter had obtained funding through September 15th, not from the city, from some private source. Now the funding is scheduled to end September 15th. Yes, the shelter is still open, housing close to 200 Newark residents, a significant number of whom work and pay taxes, just like we do. But I ask you, is this any way to deal with homeless individuals who are already fighting just to survive? I guess you really don't care what I'm saying since you're not listening to me. Day to day, they have multiple needs: medical, social, legal, psychological, treatment, and others, none of which are being directly addressed by the city, and they have no current basis to believe that their collective situations will improve. Every month, the residents of 224 Sussex have had a sword hanging over their head, threatening to put them out on the street. The city has a so-called plan to deal with homelessness. I'll read from it. The Homeless Services Initiative is to assist individuals and families to move towards independent living and self-sufficiency. The Homeless Services Initiative of the City of Newark exists to promote the safety and well-being of homeless persons and those at risk for homelessness in a manner that respects their dignity and self-worth. And then there's a statement of client rights, which includes the need to have a safe and clean environment and supportive services. This plan has little or nothing to do with the actuality of what's going on. With the actuality of those suffering from the societal diseases of homelessness and poverty. How does anyone expect the temporary shelter that they are receiving at 224 to be in any way a means for transition through a rough period in their lives to a series of improvements when there's this continuing threat over and over again every month that they're going to be put out on the street? When this council found out that the city would no longer fund the shelter past June 30th and did nothing, it abdicated its responsibility, just like the mayor abdicated his responsibility in early June. And what do we see in Newark? On one side, the wealthiest corporations being subsidized at taxpayer expense. On the other side, minimum wage, unemployed workers, low-wage workers trying and failing to put together enough money to afford to rent even a cheap apartment or room. There's something dreadfully wrong with this picture. The War Against Poverty Coalition says if the need is year-round, then provide the funding that enables it to stay open year-round. If that means putting a homeless tax, on corporations who are benefiting from city subsidies and whose redevelopment is widening the inequality gap in Newark, then so be it. And guarantee the services that residents need to make real improvements in their lives.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mr. Clerk, I noticed that 2 people have come in who were on the list, 10-4 Evans and Ms. Cassandra Dock. So if you will call them in that order, I'd appreciate it. I'm sorry, who else? Who?
Right.
What, she just came in?
No, she was over there.
When we called her name, she did not come up. Oh, okay. So let's do this in order, so we will hear first from Ms. Opal Wright. I'm sorry, Ms. 10-4, then Ms. Opal Wright, and then Ms. Cassandra Dock.
Thank you.
10-4 Evans.
Praise the Lord, everybody. They got me all backwards here. Excuse me, if I say anything, President. Why is Councilor Lawrence leaving this building when I haven't spoke?
I beg your pardon?
Why are they leaving the building? We still talking.
What did she say?
Yeah,
I don't know. You have to ask him.
Huh?
You have to ask. Because Ms. Dock, help me out today. It's my first day back. You have to ask him.
No, I'm going to stop this jump today. This is not, excuse me, my name is 10-4 Evan, P.O. Box 2367, New Jersey. First off, we having a council meeting. They got no, if I'm late, I'll come back. But they got no business going on the side and talking. Don't kind of put nothing on. I said, you know, you just don't leave like that.
Miss Evans, you're wasting your time. Come on.
You
got something to say.
Okay. Start my time back. You at 4:36. I ain't started yet.
Your time has started. Please, ma'am. Go
All
right
right.
ahead.
Let me say my name again. The thing's still going. I ain't talking. All right. Start my time back, please. I say start my time back. You got 4:16.
Miss Evans, you wasted your time asking.
No. Start my time back, Milton.
Gonzalez. Now, when we start the time back.
Okay, no problem.
From the beginning, stick to the subject.
Okay, I will. I'm waiting. Now, praise the Lord, everybody. I have some picture that I'm going to speak on today, and by Ban the Prophet. I have documentation for y'all to see what Ban the Prophet mean and what to represent it. One of the clerk, please take this up. This is picture here. Had to Ban the Prophet. Had the thing to deal with Ban the Prophet. There you go. Okay, I have some pictures that I have took for the Ban the Prophet. I told my counsel, John James, that the prophet was banned and he bolted up. He gave me information telling me that it's not broke. It is broke. Squad are going in there every day, every night in that place. And I think we need to do something about this. Here's the picture. You'll get, when you get your packet, you'll see it. And this is telling you, Councilor James, you was not true when you say that. I want you to read the secret of this, the Ban the Prophet, what Ban the Prophet is all about. Because it seems like y'all don't know what y'all supposed to be doing. All right? Also, I would like to know, when the mayor gave his picnic, he said it was did in the council that they voted on the money that they gave him. Okay, also he sold ticket right here in City Hall, which is abandoned. You don't supposed to sell the ticket. And I want to know what we did with the money that he selected for the picnic. You sold ticket. 2 tickets was the same thing, 000. So I would like to know, what are we doing here in the City Hall and in Newark? That's my concern. So this is what I'm saying. What are we doing? Look at the property good and read what it means, what abandoned property is. Councilor John James. Because you seem like you don't know. I brought it to your attention last night. And when I brought it there, you say it wasn't. Don't you see that property abandoned with anything with a glass broke out, empty building, no on the side, no safety door or nothing? Ain't that abandoned? Squatter coming in there. That's on the property where my mother lived on that side. You know, what are we going to do? After the day, I'm going to take it another level. I'm not going to have that no more. Because when abandoned property like that, people have a right to come in and set that thing on the fire and set somebody else's house on the fire. And we don't have money like that. That's why the council's supposed to be paying attention and knowing what's going on. I would like to know what I said about the council of Lord. You voted for the council of Lord. They jump up and go outside. They got a right to be in this meeting just like everybody else. If they didn't want the job, the council of Lord, they should have never took the job. I guarantee you next year if I be living, I'm going to make a stop on this darn nonsense. Gonzalez, he don't send nobody to no meeting. At least sometime people come. He don't send nobody. And every time he bone and getting up, now he get up on the hat and he got to go. He ain't got to go, no. He would have one job. I'm sick of this mess. This is nothing but a really aggravating. Thank you back, Mildred. Thank you, you're back in the seat again. But you know, you got to do things right. You can't sit here and look for everybody to do something you ain't doing it right. Now that was a death stretch to us, and let us know, say, hey, you don't count nothing. I'm going to see what's going to count next time around, or even before next time around, what's going on here. But that's my most concern is the abandoned property. I want it be abandoned up. No longer for September. If I come back on the second time September, I ain't going to come back by myself. That's my concern of what I'm going to do for abandoned property, okay? I want you to read it and understand it. Thank you. That's right.
Thank you. Next speaker, Mr. Clerk.
Madam President.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman.
First and foremost, Ms. Tinfoil Evans, I never told you it wasn't abandoned, okay? I asked you for the address. Once I get an address of any property that's believed to be abandoned, I send it to Code Enforcement and Neighborhood Services. They do an investigation and they board up the building. One of the pictures you have here is privately owned. There's a realtor sign on it. That's not even city property. So in no time did I tell you it was abandoned. I sat here and listened to you. Code Enforcement and Neighborhood Services enforce all abandoned property. So I did that. And I will continue any property that you bring to me or any other resident brings to me, I will send it to Code Enforcement and have it boarded up. I will continue to do that. Thank you.
Well, I thank you for talking, Mr. James, but that's a lie. You have not did your job. Mildred, I'm sorry. I hate that because I don't want nobody to call me at night and a fire on fire and I don't tell you about the problem and you ain't doing it. I hate it with a passion. I am not in well neither. Thank you. I want to get it done.
Next speaker, Mr. Clerk.
Opal R. Wright.
Somebody said she's here. Oh.
Nice resume.
Yes, her name is Opal R. Wright, reside at Vanderpool Street in Newark, New Jersey. I'd like to say good afternoon to the council people. And I'm here today consulting on the recovery, on the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009, on the provisions to qualify citizens concerning distribution. I was reading the general provisions of this act, And it states there, the current fiscal year, that 1% of the available funds would be made available to qualified citizens. I would like to mention that there are, I guess I would say that there are in your possession applications, but I'm not sure if these applications are to be filled out by you. But since this is considered an emergency to those who are in distressed areas, the applications are, they could be pretty much on computer to those who have a email address, or you would go to the email, send email to a person. You would open, or pretty much you could apply for email with a call or something like that, electric mail. I believe you should look at your search engine, and whichever search engine that you get to request questions and they provide you with information, you should enter that you would like to apply for a address, an email address. Then you would go to the screen to send an email to department heads or department or agency heads the application for the funds that are available. The application, the title would be the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act of 2009. The personal information, which would be your name, address, your gender, marital status, whether or not you're a citizen, and your social security number. Then you would begin to, because it states in the beginning of the law that you should refer to the reference where you are most interested in the product or service, the program or service. So that would be your assurance. So you would have Division A, then you would answer all of the questions, all of the Division A, yes or no to what you're interested in. Once you've completed that, you can forward or send that application to the department heads of programs and services. Now, this state application, this would be your activity, or your what you would do. Then you would, as far as the state applications are for residents or qualified citizens, you would then you're asking or requesting to receive in that portion of the appropriations. Department head and committee of appropriations will discuss with the mayor several questions regarding programs, the status of the local programs, whether or not he could describe for the intentions and the use of the appropriations. The department head and committee of appropriations would at least make sure, request or seek that he fills out an incentive grant application, and this way they would do what we've been expecting pretty much for the city to be pretty much attentive or helpful in the distribution of the funds. So, thank you.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, Mr. Clerk, is Cassandra Dock. Is she back? Not appearing. Is she back? Mr. Clerk?
Madam President?
Not appearing.
That concludes the list of speakers for this afternoon. The next hearing of citizens will take place at Who?
Ms. Bodine just walked in.
Is it okay if I appear?
Carol
You have 5
Bodine?
minutes.
Yes. I just need to find my glasses, 1 second.
Could you speak into the microphone, please?
I'm requesting time to just get my glasses.
I beg your pardon?
To get my glasses
Where are your glasses?
in my bag. Thank you so much, Council, for letting me speak. I really appreciate it. My name is Carol Bodine. I reside at 25 Clifton Avenue, Newark, New Jersey. I just heard one of the best call to action speeches today delivered by the new school superintendent, Roger Leone, at Prudential Center, with the students from the city of Newark. He addressed us and he asked, and I quote, he wanted them to be second to none. And what does that mean? That means us. That means me. That means the city council. One of the things that we can do is to make sure that Newark is going to be second to none and be the city of excellence that it can be. And that means the security ordinance can be second to none, one that other cities model, one that doesn't serve a certain special interest group and does not serve the constituents of the city of Newark. We're looking for something that is fair and equitable. Now, I'm going to add that because I was not here today, I do not know what happened with the security guard ordinance. I don't know if it was presented. I don't know what was said. But what I do want to say is this. I pulled the state law, and what I'm asking the council to make sure is that city ordinances are normally governed by state. And I pulled the state law for myself. It's Title 13, stateofnewjersey.us. And it gives the definition of what security is. A security officer is a person, right, that protects us, whoever is hired either by that company. They are protecting the constituents of that establishment. And I'm going to give you some facts, because if the ordinance that either was presented today or will be presented doesn't meet these standards, I am asking you to definitively make sure that the law department checks this out. Number one, they are to protect person and property, real or personal, from injury or harm, or from any other purpose whatsoever, to determine, to deter, observe, report incidences and activities for the purpose of preventing theft or the unlawful taking of, concealment, or misappropriation of goods, wares, and merchandise. That's number one, state of New Jersey law. They also protect money, bonds, stocks, notes, or any other valuable instruments, documents, papers, or articles. And you are to observe and report all incidences for the purpose of preventing any unauthorized or unlawful activity, including but not limited to robbery, burglary, arson, criminal mischief, vandalism, or trespass. I can cite you, it's Title 13, Law and Public Safety, Chapter 55A, under Security Officers and Security, Subchapter 1, 13 by 55A-1.3. And the reason that I feel this is really important, And the reason that I'm citing what Superintendent Leon said today is because we can make Newark great. I'm not going to say again, I'm going to say Newark great by being a city that citizens feel safe whether or not they live in an apartment building, whether or not they live in a project, whether or not they're a HUD apartment, whether or not you're a homeowner. All of us want to feel safe. I want all of you to feel safe. And with everything that I stated, if by state law the ordinance does not live up to that, I don't feel, and I don't see how it could be passed. Like I said, I wasn't here to hear what was going on. I don't know if it's tabled. I don't know if it's been voted on. But I am here to challenge that and asking Newark not to be second, but to be number one. To be number one. To show businesses that want to come here, like Amazon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Madam President, that concludes the list of speakers for this afternoon. The next hearing of citizens will take place on Wednesday, September the 19th at 6:30 p.m. here in the council chamber. Back to motions. I have a pre-printed motion from Councilman Quintana. I want to do a motion thanking Nurse Jessica DeNegris from St. Barnabas Hospital for her dedication, her kindness, and her devotion to her patients. The City of Newark and the members of the Newark Municipal Council take this opportunity to thank you for your hard work and dedication. Thanking you in advance for your continuous cooperation. Council of the whole to accept?
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Councilman Osborne, we've never had a chance to start with you first.
No, I just have one announcement. There will be a Love Your Community Day cookout tomorrow, September 7th, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at the Sound Stage on the corner of Clinton and Peshon Avenues. There will be school supply giveaway, food, and much more. If you have any questions, please contact my office at 973-733-3794. That's it. Thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Councilman McCallum.
Okay. First off, I want to do letters of condolence to Mr. Dave Blake, a longtime worker here that passed the other day. West Water from Columbia Avenue, and also to Miss Lydia Wilson, who passed the other day. I know both of them a long time, and it's heartfelt and really sad about it, especially Lydia.
Yes, right.
You know, she had cancer, and had a smoothie with her a few months ago up on South Orange Avenue, and her spirits were always, you know, in order, and she was always happy and a fighter. So I want to recognize them too. Today we have occupied a block at Smith Street and South Orange Avenue at 5 o'clock. For anyone that wants to come out, I guess the mayor and myself will be there with departments, Newark Works, Code Enforcement, so you can come out and join us. That's all I have.
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Councilman James.
First, I'd like to congratulate Pastor Vincent Rouse from Pleasant Grove Baptist Church and Levi Holmes from Bronze Shields for partnering with me for a fun day, open house. We gave out food, book bags, and other things needed for the children. Also want to congratulate Coach Logan at Weequahic High School They had a big win last Saturday, and they even made the play of the week. So if you go to NJ.com, you can see that. My monthly community meeting is going to be the 15th of this month, 9 a.m. at 400 Hawthorne Avenue. And I want everyone to patronize a new restaurant called Kings and Queens that we have at 727 Freeland Heights and Avenue. If you get a chance, please stop by. Their phone number is 201-735-8637, and we want them to stay open, so let's give them some business. That's all I have.
Second.
Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Councilman Amador.
Just two or three things. PSE&G has been replacing the gas lines on Lafayette Street, Congress, and a couple of other streets. And these streets have been paved recently, and the streets look a mess. I would like to know, through engineering, if PSE&G has the responsibility to repave the streets that have been paved by the city recently. They are? Good news. A get well letter to Nancy Zach. She has been at Clara Maas Hospital with an infection, severe problem, and she should still be there. So we should send a letter to Clara Maas on behalf of Nancy Zach. Still the same problem that I've been talking about for the last 5 or 6 months. On street cleaning days, the street sweeper is not passing. However, the tow truck passes by and either picks up the car, tows the car, or the police department tickets the car. There's got to be better coordination than what we have right now. I know that we're in the process of resolving the problem, but it's been 5 months and we still haven't done it. And these folks, whenever they get their car towed, they have to pay $300 to get the car back. And the street's still not clean. Something's wrong with this. I hope we can resolve this issue. Thank you.
Second. Roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. I have one motion. It is not brand new. I understand that there were some informal conversations around this subject during the budget hearings. I did come in for the initial budget hearing, but was not able to stay to get details in the budget of the Municipal Council and of the City Clerk's office. I can't speak for any other council member other than myself. Yes, I can. I can speak representatively for those of us who are citywide. I lost count of the number of requests that I received for book bags and school uniforms. People, for whatever reason, think we make a fortune. We do not. If you compared it with other entities, you would be amazed at how well we manage our personal lives as well as our professional lives with our salary. So obviously, this is a backwards request to put on the agenda the items. The purpose of my making that statement is not a negative, because we love our job. And so in spite of the lack of a paycheck that would be equal, We still do it, but something is taking place and right now that drives me to make this appeal, and I'm sorry the BA has left. When I was first elected in 1994, we had a community fund under Mayor Sharp James, and it was $50,000. I think we ended up reducing it. I don't recall because it's been so many years, but we had a community fund. And what we did with that community fund is we were able to meet the needs of the people of the city of Newark at the beginning of school, at Thanksgiving, and at Christmas. Those are the primetime requests that we receive. And so I want to put back on the table, Mr. Corporation Counsel, a request that as we strike the budget, that we arrive at some kind of ability to help those of us, and that includes certainly those who are ward council members, the ward council members in terms of helping us to meet the needs of our community. This is not for us. It is for the people whose taxes pay our salary. And I don't know how the mayor does it because he has the expectation of being able to supply everyone's needs. So with all of that being said, I'm real serious about this. It is not a frivolous request. I want to apologize from my office for those persons to whom I had to say, I don't have any more left. We spend our personal money, but that is irrelevant to the conversation. We need to be made whole so that we can help the people in our community. And so it's on the table for a major discussion. Please let the BA, I think I casually said something, but please let the business administrator know that this is a request from the entire council. Absolutely. Is there a second?
Second. Third.
Roll call?
Yes.
Yes.
Eddie, sit down. We can't leave yet. Yes. Before I forget, Pops, the gentleman who passed, his wife has called me. I will call her back. We will send out an e-blast in terms of the arrangements. She is at the funeral parlor now. And so we ask that you lift his family up in prayer. Yeah. I never called him. Mr. Clerk, that's it.
Council of the whole to adjourn?
Yes. Council members, don't leave. We got a 5-minute meeting. Please. Yes. Thank you. Could we see Mr. Corporation Counsel and Mr. Clerk quickly? Quickly. Up here.